near you. KGTV San Diego. Now at 11 o'clock, Kimberly Hunt, Carol LeBeau, Captain Mike's Weather, Larry Sacknoff on sports. Tonight's Perspective, the team that stands for San Diego. This is 10 News Nightcast.
If you want to know more about the city's sex scandal, don't expect answers from City Hall. At 11 o'clock, city lawmakers say they'll have no comment about the case anytime soon. Byron Harlan is here to explain why just one day after they promised full disclosure.
Well, the problem is if anybody opens their mouths, the city might be slapped with a lawsuit. The woman claiming sexual harassment apparently got officials to agree to keep quiet. The problem is the cat's already out of the bag. Here's what we're talking about. This man is one of those at the center of the controversy. He's former city manager John Lockwood. He agreed to pay an associate planner, Susan Bray, $100,000. She claimed that her boss, former planning director Robert Spaulding, wanted sex from her. Why make the payment? Lockwood told us by phone he signed a check to keep the city from losing much more in a lawsuit.
My judgment was that that settlement, which I guess I can't even legally give you the details of, but that settlement was a good business decision for the city.
No one on the city council knew about the agreement until this month. When they heard, council members got angry and promised a full disclosure. That's not going to happen, though, not yet. City lawyers apparently are recommending everyone keep quiet about this. If anyone talks, the deal may rupture, exposing the city to another lawsuit.
I think the citizens would like to hear from the city attorney and from the city council that this kind of payoff will not occur again in this manner.
If we engaged in that open discussion, we would subject you, the taxpayers, and for which we are ultimately responsible, to even greater possible costs.
The problem is the mayor and other council members have talked. They've talked about their outrage. They've talked about the cover-up. But now, apparently, there will be no more talking. City council members will deal with this matter again in about 2 weeks. Then they may, just maybe, decide to talk more about what's going on.
Until then, mom's the word.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Byron. Well, Sheriff Jim Roach and the County of San Diego face a wrongful death lawsuit tonight. The suit centers around the stabbing death of Tyrone Mullen. He was killed in front of the sheriff's substation last year. Mullen was taken by Life Flight helicopter to the hospital where he died. The debate is over an alleged delay by sheriff's deputies.
They told me during the criminal case that the only reason there was a little confusion was because they were switching shifts. It was a shift change. I don't care if they're in their underwear. I don't think it has anything to do with your professionalism in your job.
The suit accuses Sheriff Roach and deputies at the substation of, quote, frolicking at the time of the stabbing. Tonight, Sheriff Roach pointed out that he was on leave at the time running for sheriff and was barred from any sheriff's office by then-Sheriff Duffy. Leonard Johnson has been charged with voluntary manslaughter for Mullen's death. An Imperial Beach man may never see again, all because of a freak accident. A bomb nearly killed Jim Wilson last Wednesday. Tonight, he is fighting for recovery at the UCSD burn unit. Neighbors call him Three-Wheeler Jim. Last week, he found a pipe bomb in a trash bin while looking for aluminum cans. It went off in Wilson's hands. Doctors don't know if he will ever see again, but Wilson says he won't let this setback keep him from making a difference.
God didn't put me here on the face of the earth to be a bastard. No way. If I can't make at least one person smile in a day's time, then it's time to give up. That's what life's all about, is helping your neighbor. Sharing with one another.
Wilson's friends have set up a fund to help him.
The American Red Cross is planning to cleanse the nation's blood supply. The agency says it'll overhaul its outdated system of handling blood to more carefully screen donors who may have the AIDS virus. To make it work, the organization will close its 53 blood centers one by one until a new computer system is put into place. Red Cross President Elizabeth Dole says the move will help keep tainted blood out of the nation's blood supply.
Rather than just meeting standards, we will raise them. Instead of just fixing problems, we will spend our time preventing them.
Revamping the Red Cross will take more than 2 years and cost more than $120 million. How much do people need to know about AIDS? A member of the National Commission on AIDS said in San Francisco that frank talk about sex, including gay sex, must be part of a national AIDS prevention program. But that idea has mixed reviews in San Diego. Jim Wilkerson joins us now to explain that. Jim?
Yeah, Carol, well, of course, the big question is what can you say reasonably to, say, 6th and 7th graders about various sexual practices? Is explaining virtually everything about sex okay? Well, apparently it is in San Diego. In fact, San Diego is a model. There are more AIDS patients every day in the world, the nation, and the county. Will franker talk about sex, including gay sex, help in the AIDS education process?
Yes, wholeheartedly. And I think that's why we've been as successful as we have in San Diego. We do speak very frankly about the things that people really do with each other sexually.
The AIDS Project already tells it as it is. But how do San Diego schools handle it? Well, pretty much the same way.
We need to talk about the fact that there are people who have sex with, there are males who have sex together and females who have sex together. I think that young people know this. They talk about this, and it's better for us to talk about it openly than it is for it to be a secret.
But some people disagree. Deacon Carl Shelton believes that values should be taught.
Frank talk about the devices or the mechanics or the positions or whatever is not helping. As a matter of fact, it's only encouraging experimentation.
Mary Kubushta teaches sex education, including what happens in gay sex.
I'm very frank, very honest, and I think if you take terminology and you put it in a very frank manner, you can deal with a very intimate subject without blushing or without getting shy.
The teachers do urge the students to say no to sex and drugs, and the sex education is not mandatory. But by most standards, San Diego AIDS education is about as good as any in the country. As a matter of fact, I learned tonight that San Diego is such a model, the Centers for Disease Control is starting a new test program in 8 high schools in San Diego next fall on how to teach even more about AIDS, and they want to teach it even better.
All right, sign the time.
Details on that later.
All right, thank you, Jim. Well, unfortunately, Jim, it's not that way in the Bay Area. AIDS is killing off a startling number of people in San Francisco. Mayor Art Agno says the deadly illness has killed 1% of the city's population over the past decade, and that translates to more than 7,300 people.
As we continue with Nightcast, Michael Tuck thinks our school children are being used. That's in tonight's Perspective.
And later on, we will show you what a man was willing to do to save a baby deer.
And next, helmets are no longer optional on California's roads. Details coming up.
The perfect car for California would have the spirit of European engineering, the appeal of Japanese design, and the dignity of British elegance. All at a good old American price. The Chrysler LeBaron. No wonder it's the best-selling convertible in the country. Advantage Chrysler. Nah. Advantage California.
As cars get older, they may need higher and higher octane to perform like they used to. But there is a gasoline specially formulated to control this higher octane need while providing the highest level of engine cleanliness. Texaco System 3. You get great performance in every octane grade.
Still think all gasolines are the same?
Take your average family trip, but take it in a not-so-average family car, the new Volkswagen Passat. The Passat wagon comes with 4-wheel disc brakes. It's got plenty of room for your family, and best of all, Fahrvergnügen, which means you might even forget you're driving a family car.
Are we there yet?
Well, maybe not. Fahrvergnügen, it's what makes a car a Volkswagen. Nice logo, too.
Ride a Harley, wear a helmet. That's the law in California as of January 1st. Today, Governor Pete Wilson overlooked the protests of motorcyclists and signed the legislation that will make wearing a helmet mandatory. Wilson says the law is needed to save lives.
So we have a responsibility to make our streets and roads as safe as possible. When we build them, when we maintain them and patrol them, and when we pass laws to regulate how we will use them, from setting speed limits to requiring seat belts, to today putting a new chapter into the law.
Motorcyclists say helmets restrict their hearing and vision, but the governor says the cost of head injuries alone to taxpayers each year makes the trade-off worthwhile. Carol?
The president's health tops our worldwide news tonight. President Bush met with German Chancellor Helmut Kohl today to talk about the post-war Persian Gulf. But everyone else was talking about the president's health. Mr. Bush looked tired, coughed, and stumbled over his words. A White House spokesman says the condition is caused by the president's thyroid problem, but he says doctors expected it.
General Norman Schwarzkopf is now a knight in shining armor. Britain's Queen Elizabeth knighted him in Tampa, Florida today, and unlike British citizens, the commander of Desert Storm did not kneel before the Queen and was not tapped by a sword.
Imagine falling almost 2 miles to the ground and living. That's what happened to Jill Shields. An experienced sky jumper, Shields fell 9,500 feet when her parachute failed to open. Some trees apparently broke her fall. She is listed in guarded condition with a compressed fracture of the spine in an Ohio hospital.
Well, our school children are falling for an old trick, and it's called working another's agenda, but they're a bit too young to know better. And here's Michael Tuck's perspective.
You won't find it on the official school curriculum, but there's a new course they're teaching these days in California public schools. Just call it Brainwashing 101, or better yet, Political Manipulation, Basic Study. That's what teachers are doing, all right, doing with your kids. They're manipulating them to carry out the teacher's own political agenda. They're having 6-year-olds lobby the governor and tell him not to cut funding to public schools. Now, maybe you think school funding should not be cut under any circumstances. Or maybe you think the state budget is so far in the red, it's better to cut school spending slightly than to turn criminals loose from jail early, or cut hot meals to old people, or raise taxes so high nobody can afford them. But no matter what you think, teachers are telling your kids what they should think and what to do about it, too. Teachers have organized massive letter-writing campaigns on school time. This flyer was circulated up in the Richmond district, telling teachers to, quote, have each student every period, underlined, write a letter to the governor, end quote. If students can't use their own words, the flyer instructs, just use a form letter. The result? Well, the governor's office has been flooded with thousands of letters like this one from a first grader in Vacaville. Notice how neat the writing is, articulate too. Then look at the top, how Brandon could barely print his own name in crayon. Check out the artwork. Sure, this was all Brandon's idea. Now, the teachers say they're doing this for your children's sake. Maybe so. But it could also be true they're doing it for their own sake, since less money for education means less money for teachers' salaries. Oh, and one thing more. Who do you think is putting stamps on all those letters on school time? In some cases, you are, the way you pay for all official school correspondence. On second thought, maybe they're teaching another course in public schools. Call this one Shafting the Taxpayer. I'm Michael Tuck, and that's my perspective.
Up next, Mike Ambrose says the weather is going to get more summer-like this week. He'll have the forecast.
And why can't the Padres do this at home? That's what Larry Sacknoff wants to know.
After year, the look that gets the looks is Dutch Boy Satin Finish Paint. It's the one finish every house should start with. You can see why it's worth more.
The experience of buying and owning a car hasn't changed much over the past 90 years. So why would a new car company called Infinity commit to changing it overnight? With warranty and service standards that could make the experience of buying and owning a car something it's never been. Perhaps it's because most people think the experience isn't everything it should be. And that seemed like reason enough.
Three such very good friends wanted a glorious son of St. Thomas. But one evening, the tall one lost her money and her credit cards. And as soon as she mentioned Citibank Visa, no problem, I told her. Call this minute. Go on. They're open all the time. Well, she got a new card in one day. I see credit cards from all around the world, and with Citibank, it's always the same thing. No problem.
Not just Visa, Citibank Visa.
Captain Mike, on a Monday, not a bad weekend.
Real good weekend, as a matter of fact. Of course, Kimberly had a tough weekend. She went up to, where the heck?
I eventually ended up in the Napa Valley.
Yes.
After a plane crashed on the highway in front of me, the taxi cab got a flat tire. There were no rental cars. There were no shuttles.
Sounds like a lousy weekend. And better you than us, kid. Glad you made it back alive. Imagine a cab gets a flat tire. You know, life is full of it, isn't it? Heavy rain tonight in Key West. Almost 4 inches of rain. Tonight alone, Apalachicola, Florida, Lake Charles, Louisiana, an inch of rain down at New Orleans tonight. 2 inches of rain in a 1-hour period at Tulsa, Oklahoma. And we are overcast. We're also on Nightcast, so let's get Monday Nightcast current. We were joking about that earlier. That must have been misery. You know, you go that far, and it takes you 14 hours to get from the airport to wherever you're going, which is 15 miles away. Temperature, the humidity, the visibility is good. Again, we are overcast. The winds are out of the south, actually almost calm right now. There's a sunrise and sunset for tomorrow, and with your permission, let's take a look at the west here. And it shows the satellite photograph here, so, well, hey, it's clear skied all up and down the coastline of California. Not really. It is nighttime, and therefore the visual image satellite doesn't simply work, so this is infrared satellite pictures, and or these are infrared, and it doesn't pick up the low clouds, but they are certainly well out there. Got pals in the southeast. We're talking very heavy rain, and let's check some temperatures. For us, essentially the night and morning low clouds will be there. That's sort of a regime, and then fair skies in the afternoon and maybe a little bit warmer as each day goes on. Let me get my hand out of the way so you can read the overnight lows here from Lindbergh Field, 66 to 56. Let's take a look at the nation now and take a look at the cold spots and the warm spots. The Texas area, the heartland, Texas certainly quite warm, quite muggy. Rain very heavy in through here. The cool spot is the latest storm in the Pacific Northwest, and quite cool it is. We have scattered showers moving in this general direction. This is tropical moisture, rather muggy over at Phoenix tonight. For the strongest activity with locally heavy rain in the 3 to 4 inch category in through here, and in immediate East Texas down into the Florida Peninsula where it's wet and muggy, and dry in the northeast. In fact, they had just delightful weather up there today. For our deserts, one word, fair skies and 92, maybe a couple of degrees warmer than that, actually. All right, for the mountains, fair, 65 to 41. The inland, the forecast, some night and morning clouds, and then fair. Tomorrow's going to be a very nice day. 76. The coast, how warm will it finally end up? Around 70. Between 65 and 68 on the beaches, and we'll finally get sun. A little warmer still on Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the usual morning clouds and sun. We're almost up to the merry month of June, where we get the famous June gloom, and the reason for that is the low pressure over in the deserts, when the deserts get superheated, and therefore it draws the ocean air in. Are you nodding off? This is meteorological heavy.
I'm in total agreement
we
here.
knew
We knew that.
Yeah, in any case, we've been kind of lucky up to this point. It's been really pretty, and tomorrow looks good.
Good. We're lucky people anyway, right?
Oh, sure. Flat tires, you know, airplane crashes.
Oh, the Padres were pretty lucky tonight, speaking of luck.
They're on the road. I think when they come home, they should wear their road uniforms.
Good idea.
I'm going to suggest that to them because they look pretty good tonight. Highlights from their game against the Atlanta Braves. Also, you can make a few calls tonight on a few plays, and Michael Jordan is the MVP. Sports is next. Stay with us.
Question: how do I get to the beach? Answer:
keep going west till you smell fish.
Answer:
you take I-5 to I-8, then Mission Bay Drive.
Answer:
What do I look like? The Thomas Brothers?
We'll put you to the test as we find out what San Diegans are really like.
San Diego's personality test this week on 10 News at 5.
They were people just like you and me, and they left their homes because they felt they were haunted on the next Oprah show.
Tomorrow afternoon at 4.
For 75 years, Mitsubishi Motors' diamond emblem has symbolized its unbending standard of quality. Introducing the highest expression of that standard, the Diamante, where meticulous design and craftsmanship lead to extraordinary comfort and thriving pleasure. Diamante, the new luxury performance sedan from Mitsubishi. The word is getting around.
American Airlines proudly announces service to London's Heathrow Airport. And with our expanded service from across the U.S., American will become the #1 American airline to London. So come with us to Great Britain's first city on America's #1 airline.
Midas announces Quiet Riot Day. Get $10 off any Midas quality muffler. That's right, $10 off. Nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
Padres picked a real good night to win a game. They beat the Braves 7-3, so they picked up a game on them, and the Dodgers lost, so they picked up a game on them too. Nice night for Tony Fernandez. Got a triple out of this one, even though Ron Gant didn't really play this thing real well. He's got more room to get to the wall before he jumped. He jumped way too soon. Biff Roberts scored. It was 1-0 Padres. Next batter, Tony Gwynn, going the opposite way. Base hit past the shortstop out on left field. Fernandez came in to score. It was 2-0 after 1. Fernandez came up again in the third inning, hit his first home run of the year, also his first National League homer, first one of his career, 3-0 Padres. Lonnie Smith then hit a 2-run homer off of Eddie Lee Whitson, and that closed the game to 3-2. And now let's just jump ahead a little bit after the Padres took a 4-3 lead. Tony Gwynn hit his second home run of the year. This made it 5-3 Padres. And the next one you're going to look at is Fred McGriff. And just take a look at this swing. It's a pretty swing, and when he hits them, they are gone. He just nailed that thing out over the 402-foot sign, pretty much dead center. And that gave the Padres a 6-3 lead, and they went on to win it 7-3. Elsewhere, Houston beat the Dodgers 4-1. Best catch by a fan happened in this game over by the railing. Eddie Murray over there. The fan decided, I'm going to get it. And he did. Barehanded catch. Took it out of Eddie Murray's glove. And Houston beat the Dodgers, by the way, tonight 4-1. Let's make some calls. Now, we haven't done that in a while. And the plays in question all came out of the Boston-Milwaukee game. First one is a ground ball to first. Franklin Stubbs running the bag. Wade Boggs going to slide. Now, you make the call. Safe or out? Safe. Out. The pitch to Jack Clark. Strike or not?
No. Looked like a strike.
Strike. You got it. Dale Swaim in the rundown. Did he get tagged out? The umpire says...
No. No.
He's out. Darrell Hamilton trying to score on this next one, all right? Tony Pena with the tag or not. Is he safe or out?
He is out.
He's out. Fly to center.
He never touched the base.
Okay, fly to center. I said you were right. Fly to center by Steve Lyons. Robin Yount going out there. He's going to make the catch, but it's going to go off his glove and over that little fence out there. Home run or ground rule double?
Oh, ground rule double.
Home run. Wow. We haven't played it in a while, and it shows. You guys are very rusty. Boston beat Milwaukee 3-0. Jeff Reardon picked up his 300th career save. Detroit over Baltimore 11-5. Oh, rough first inning for Bob Mylacki in this one. Couldn't find the plate. Walked Tony Phillips. Walked Alan Trammell. Walked Cecil Fielder. Walked Mickey Tettleton to force in a run. Finally, they said, can this guy throw a strike tonight, please? So the first strike that he throws to Pete Incaviglia, grand slam home run. Oh, man, did this guy have a first inning. He lasted 2/3 of an inning, 5 walks, 5 earned runs, and the one hit, of course, the grand slam. Detroit won 11-5 over Baltimore. Toronto beat Oakland 1-0. Seattle over Kansas City 8-6. First pitch of the game, Henry Cotto fouled it off the plate and back into his face. Bruised cheek, had to leave the game. Bill Pacoda now comes up to the plate, and he hit one to left field wall, and it's going to get by Ken Griffey Sr., and then he said, hey, kid, help me out. That's Ken Griffey Jr., his son, out in center. So he ran down the ball. In the meantime, Pagoda kept running. They're going to try for the inside the park home run. The head first slide, safe or out? Well, you see the ump, so I'm going to give you a break on that one. Don't say out, please. He was safe. That's good. Seattle beat Kansas City 8-6. Cleveland over New York 3-1. And Chicago beat California 6-3. No, California beat Chicago 6-3.
Right.
True. Or false. Speaking of the Angels in the game you just saw, Fernando Valenzuela has a job with them. Fernando signed a contract for the rest of the season with an option for 1992. He'll pitch in Palm Springs on Wednesday. And maybe 2 more starts with Class A and then be called up to the Dodgers maybe the end of next week. The Aztecs baseball team will open the NCAA tournament against Stanford Thursday afternoon in Fresno. The Aztecs, who won the WAC tournament, the WAC championship in Hawaii over the weekend, are the number 5 seed in the Western Regional. And Michael Jordan won the NBA's Most Valuable Player Award today, leading them to their best record ever, 61-21. But he traded in for that championship ring. He's got a game tomorrow night against Detroit, leading that series 1-0.
Well deserved. Thanks, Zach. Up next, an incredible story of compassion and a wounded animal. Stay with us.
What do you call a car that's faster 0 to 60 than a Corvette L98 and a Nissan Z? Outcorners a Lotus Esprit? Has been called the affordable Ferrari by Motor Trend magazine and is the most technologically advanced production sports car on the road. You call it the Dodge Stealth RT Turbo. Choose from 4 Stealth models, one starting at $17,246. Only at your Dodge dealer. Welcome home, America.
So where exactly can you use a Pacific Bell calling card? Well, where are you going? Actually, it's hard to find a place where our calling card isn't welcome. But unlike most calling cards, Pacific Bell's is based on your own familiar phone number. And what could be easier than that? Pacific Bell. We're making things easier. Everywhere.
102.9 FM, classic rock. San Diego's 102.9 FM, the most classic rock, guaranteed.
You're at a stoplight. It will last 20 seconds. This may be the only time some people ever see you. How do you want to be remembered?
Sometimes people's love for animals goes beyond imagination. Tonight we have an amazing story of life and death. This is the fawn today, healthy and alert and alive, all thanks to a San Diego man who delivered the baby in a stunning situation. Gene Chaffin didn't waste a moment yesterday when he saw a pregnant deer get hit by a car on the freeway near University City. It was too late to save the mother, but Chaffin took out a knife and performed a C-section. Then he gave mouth-to-mouth resuscitation to a fawn.
All right.
There were twins, but only one fawn could be saved. The baby was nourished on the way to the hospital from its mother's detached milk sac. The fawn is being cared for at the Wildlife Center in the South Bay. In a few months, she will be roaming on a farm, all because of Gene Chaffin.
That is an incredible story. Sweet little fawn, too.
They were saying yesterday that the possible names were Freeway. I think it should be Miracle or
Bambi.
Or Gene the Second, maybe. Good night, everyone.